Welcome to this week's edition of Hawk Talk. I'm Parker. That's Nate Easton. And we're right into spring sports, softball and baseball. We talked to them a couple weeks ago. But track's also getting off and running, literally, and jumping. And so without further ado, we'll just jump into it with Coach Walker. And it's been a while since we talked to you, and since then, you had a chance to go to indoor nationals and have a few athletes compete there. Tell us about that experience and how that went for the team.
Well, it was really good, and once again, thanks for having me on, guys. But Jose Chorro kind of led our charge, got 7th in the indoors, 60 hurdles. First time he'd ever been an indoor All-American, so that was a really big deal to him. Ran really well, and prelims-wise was great, and then finals-wise was even better. So, and then Jay Liggins actually was 8th in the long jump, jumped his PR down there. And so anytime you're in All-American status, that's a pretty cool deal. He made the finals last year outdoor, and then made the finals again this year and moved up one spot, so now he's an All-American. Ty Stanton also competed down there. He finished 13th in the indoor triple jump. Ty currently sits now at 7th in the outdoor triple jump after last week's meet. And then Whitney Lurenberger got 22nd in the shot put at the indoor nationals, threw right around her PR, and now we're looking for big things for her in the outdoor as well.
You've built a schedule that some coaches around the offices might be jealous of, in that the travel isn't too extreme, lots of solid local competition. So talk about kind of the crux of that schedule before we get into the Blue Hawk games.
Yeah, we kind of made our schedule so we can try to move around, and we're actually supposed to go out to Montana this year, but they moved the date of their meet to match our date. But we kind of move around, try to get parents to be able to come watch their kids, and I always tell people I find the best weather, and then we just go there, and it just so happens that we've had a 65-degree day every day so far, so it's worked out really good. But we've competed at Hills, University of Mary, our meet, and now this week we go to Fargo. Next week we go to Jamestown. Then we come back for a little tune-up meet here, and then back to conference in Jamestown as well.
With this last weekend, it was pretty windy. Talk about the pluses and minuses depending on what events various folks were in with that strong wind that most people in Dickinson probably remember.
Well, if it's a windy day, the jumpers, the sprinters, the hurdlers, sometimes the discus throwers, depending on what direction, they're loving life. Anything over a 400-meter, and it's a good day to train and move on. Now, this weekend, we're supposed to get calmer conditions, so now it's time for the distance runners, mid-distance runners, quarter milers, those type of people to have their time to shine. But anytime we can have a meet at our facility, we'll take it.
Yeah, and how nice is it to practice and compete at the BAC, just a really nice facility at this level?
Well, I think it's great, and I think for the high school kids in town, the middle school kids that get to enjoy it for meets, I think it's just a wonderful facility. There's not a bad portion of it. You can sit in the stands and watch every event except for the javelin, which if you sit high enough, you can see it on the other field over there. So as a spectator, it's very good. The surface is amazing. You're not going to find a better place to jump. The sand is very good sand and a little bit low, so it's a very good place to jump. And then, we've had some really good performances there.
As a coach and potentially recruiting with all these different, there's track meets basically twice a week there at the BAC. Is that a nice little opportunity to check out what the local talent there is to see?
It's great. And I was down in Bowman last week for a meet, went down and watched the meet down there. And then, like you said, we have meets here every week, and it's really good to go out and see. The seniors a lot of them are signed by now. If they haven't, then they may still be looking. But we're looking at juniors right now and trying to make contact so we can continue. Our recruiting class has been very good, both men and women this year. And then we're trying to build on next year's already.
With conference coming up, you get a bit of a preview going to Jamestown next week. On the guys' side, coming back off that indoor championship, girls weren't able to match up with the numbers of some other programs. What's the outlook on those two as far as the guys defending that championship and girls trying to sneak in there?
Well, I think on the men's side, we've gotten a little bit better as we've moved into the outdoor in that middle distance area. Our quarter miler, half miler, 1,500-meter runners are running at a good level where we're going to score more in that area, hopefully, than we did in the indoor. I think the sprints and jumps will take care of itself as we're strong there. And then the throws, Jeff Fisher, now that football's done for the spring, time alone continues to be steady. We're going to be a pretty well-rounded track team on the men's side by the time the conference rolls around. On the women's side of things, getting Lorna Shepard, getting Peyton Herbst, getting Abby Honeyman back, our women's team will be much improved as we move into the conference. Whitney's our only thrower that we have in the program right now, but she can do well in all 3 throws. Peyton will compete in the heptathlon and then also compete in probably 3 or 4 events at the actual meet itself. And then Abby Honeyman will be a short hurdler sprinter, and Lorna's the same in the sprints. Our women's team's a little banged up right now, so we got to be a little careful in the next couple weeks. We just don't have a roster yet that we have much margin for error. So we've got to get kids to the conference meet, and if we get them there and we're healthy, I think we'll have a good showing there.
Sure. Yeah, what's kind of the expectation going into conference? Is it win as they have in the past, or what do you?
I think so. I think on the men's side of things, we'd like to continue the great tradition. On the women's side of things, unless I'm completely mistaken when I research the results, we've only won 2 conference championships in the history of the program. And so we want to, and one of them was 2 years ago. We got our second last year, and now we want to try to get back on top so we can continue to build on the strength of the program that we have, and then moving forward, can try to control our own destiny moving forward of getting more numbers in our program and continuing, to have the men's team that wins, but also a women's team that wins conference titles as well. And so that's the goal and the expectation. Also, we want to get athletes qualified for nationals. We currently have Ty Stanton in the long and triple, Jose in the hurdles, and then Jay's hit the B standard in the triple jump. And so we've got sprinters that are close, we've got mid-distance runners that are close, we've got throwers that are close. So getting kids to the conference meet healthy so we can achieve our team goals, and then also giving them opportunities to reach individual goals as well.
Before we wrap things up, you also on the coaching staff for the football program. They went through their spring ball. Touch on what your contributions were, / arguing who gets to compete, who doesn't, as you're protecting your own track and field athletes. Just to kind of talk about that dynamic with so many dual sport athletes and what you guys use that spring football period.
Well, I think first of all, to wrap up spring ball, I thought we had a good spring. A lot of our young guys in the final scrimmage that we had, were able to take 40 to 45 reps, which is what you want to see in spring ball. You want to see your guys that went through a redshirt year or didn't play a lot go through, and now they're taking the reps. And now we can evaluate them in game type situations. I think as far as our dual sport kids, Coach Stanton's great to work with. Coach Stanton is a guy that's very, very good to work with as far as our kids that are dual sport athletes, our track kids that are competing in spring football as well. I think most of our guys went through 6 to 8 practices, and then 2 days before the meet they were shut down, didn't do any live stuff. It's not that way everywhere. Coach Stanton understands how dual sport athletes work, and he's got a great grasp of it, and it is wonderful to work with.
Wrapping things up now, talk about that one kind of last chance home meet, what folks can expect. It's a busy weekend, lots of different Blue Hawk athletic events that we'll talk about coming up, happen that weekend. So just give us an idea of what that is, last chance qualifier there, and wrapping up.
Friday, May 5th, we'll start at about noon. And then it'll be about a 4.5 hour meet, so because just be Montana State Billings will come over, Jamestown, Mary will bring a few athletes. So it'll be a smaller meet where athletes, if they're close to a standard, can go after that standard. If they're close to hitting a B or an A, they can go after it. If a kid hasn't run for a while and you want to give them some races before the conference starts, you can do that. And it's just kind of a low-key type of meet where you can go after a performance or run a relay to go after a time. It'll start right at noon, be done by about 4:30. Encourage all of you to come out. We do have some of the best kids in the nation. When you look at it, Jose's sitting 7th right now, Ty Stanton sitting 6th. So we have some of the best in the nation, and feel free to come out.
Absolutely, Coach. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, make sure you go check out that at the BAC. We'll be back after this short break talking golf with Coach O'Donnell. Welcome back to HawkTalk. We've got a good portion of the Blue Hawk golf program here. Parker Robinson obviously plays golf himself, and we got Coach O'Donnell as well. Guys, you had the opportunity to do something that I never did in my time as a Blue Hawk golfer, 2 home events in like 5 days. So Coach, just kind of touch on how those got scheduled and what that convenience was like for the program.
Yeah, it all kind of fell into place. Valley City was scheduled to host, and actually we had a meet before that in Rapid City that was changed. So I was trying to scramble a little bit, try to find us a place, and I visited with Valley City and asked him if he'd want to come out. And actually we scheduled it for a Monday, which the forecast was terrible. So on Friday we moved it to Thursday, and then Monday was beautiful. So that kind of backfired, but we were able to get it on Thursday, and we played match play with the guys, which is a lot of fun, just different type of competition and a dual type of setting. And then we did stroke play on the women's side, but it was great to be able to get that in. It would have been really great to do it on Monday, but we're able to do that. In the spring golf, you never know what you're going to get. So that was really nice, and he was more than willing to come out and do that. So we're really trying to lock that in to have a sort of a match play, because the guys kind of like that, and it's just a different type of competition. So.
That following weekend, you got the opportunity to go to Bully Pulpit, a top 100 public course, and play that. So kind of touch on that experience for the team and the challenge that provides.
Yeah, that was something that, we were out playing and talked to the pro Casey Mullen about being able to go out there and play, and he really was real supportive. And you couldn't ask for a better situation. He got us on before the course opened to the public, so we basically had the whole course for 3 days by ourselves for our teams. And he did a phenomenal job. He helped set up, he had volunteers. I mean, the course was great. It was set up really nice, and like you said, it's one of the top courses in the country. And to be able to get on that, we had a couple teams, and I think it's going to grow a little bit. I think we're going to be able to be a little more picky on who we invite. It's going to be a true invite, because I know
one
nice.
Team that might not make the cut. We won't name any names on air.
But it definitely is something that I can't thank him enough for what he did for us, as far as getting us on and being able to play out there. And it wasn't great weather, but the course made up for being kind of crappy out.
Leading the Blue Hawks was none other than co-host Parker Robinson. Parker, take us through how you played Bully, how you attacked it, and what that was like playing such a nice course so early in the spring season.
Do you want me to detail hole by hole, shot by shot breakdown?
As much as the public would like it, I've already gotten it. So no, just some of the better shots.
Yeah, as Coach mentioned, we had a super windy day on Sunday, the first day of the tournament. And so, you just got to go out there, and it's golf in North Dakota, as we all know, and that's the way it is. You got to get used to it. So you kind of battle through that, and you just kind of hold on that first day. And then it was still cold the second day around, but much more calmer, much more scoreable. And I had a chance to, get up and down a few times on the back nine that day, and post a decent score. I wasn't terribly happy with anything. It was kind of an average day for myself, but definitely learned some things and appreciated being able to play out there, as Coach mentioned.
And Coach, in that windy condition, you were able to utilize a Christmas present, from how I understand it. Talk about that present.
It was a coveted thing on the weekend. I mean, everybody was asked where that came from. My son-in-law and my daughter bought a golf cover that goes over golf carts, and they thought that would probably be useful in the spring. So yeah, I definitely utilized it. Now I just need to get a little heater that goes inside there. But no, Parker is talking about his play. The way he had a great play, and I think Parker probably agreed, from the fall to the spring, getting a lot of confidence in his game. I mean, when we went to Arizona, he was lights out playing down there, shooting in the 70s almost every day that we played down there. So it's fun to watch the progression, and I think Parker is a prime example of sticking to it and getting that confidence, and now starting to come back to him a little bit.
And after you host HawkTalk a couple times, the pressure of stepping up on the first tee is nothing in comparison. So maybe we'll have to channel that into being a part of the golf program. But conference is coming up this upcoming week. Take us through what that trip is and what you're hoping to see happen.
Yeah, well, the conference is the second leg of the conference, which we take the fall, and then we add their 2 rounds in the spring to give us our conference championship. And we are, in the spring, is supposed to be a southern swing for one of the courses. but it's going to be in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is not, to me, doesn't define Southern, but
very few folks think of that as the
it could be interesting. I looked at the weather last week, and it was 90% rain the days that we're going to be there, and now this week it's 50 to 65 degree weather. So pretty much like North Dakota, I think is what I'm taking from it. But the course down there, it's just south of La Crosse, Wisconsin, in Onalaska is the name of the town or the suburb, but Cedar Creek is the name of the course. And Coach Watson knows the area, and he said there's a lot of trees involved. So it'll be interesting. It's supposed to be, I think, a real nice course, a private course type setting. So I think it'll be a great course for a conference championship. We leave on Saturday. We're going to drive all the way there. We have a practice round on Sunday, and then we play our 2 scoring rounds Monday, Tuesday, and then we're back in the vans heading back Tuesday afternoon to make classes by Wednesday. So it'll be a fast and furious meet, but I think it's one of those spring things where we don't have a lot of time to work on a lot of things. Our chipping and putting is probably the most where our scoring is going to be done. If we can do well there, then they're going to probably score pretty well. So, then this next week is just trying to gain confidence, like, Parker's talking about, is, get up and hit the ball and play like we're supposed to be playing, and try to course manage as much as we can, and we'll see what happens.
Sure. Yeah, and this spring was a great example of why the Arizona trip is so important to getting out and playing golf, where we've only had a few opportunities to do so. So just kind of quick review that we went down there in Phoenix and got a chance to play some really nice courses. With the structure of this team, both sides, you don't lose too much to graduation. So how important is kind of gaining the experience to where, you can have that confidence, whether you're playing your best right now or not, but understanding how it works. So a guy like Jarrett Lee can come out and fire low scores.
And I think golf, more so than any other sport, you can have a fast turnaround in your performance. You're a basketball player, you're going to score 5, 6. You don't come the next year and score 30.
I think track's the best example. You're not going to all of a sudden jump 4 feet farther.
Right.
We had that discussion during the track.
But golf is a repetition sport where if you put the time in it, you're going to see that, and especially if you gain the confidence in that. And so, the Parker example just keeps bringing that down, and as soon as you start believing, like, there's a lot of thresholds. Breaking 70 is a threshold, breaking 80 is a threshold, and once they do that, then the gates are open. Then they're not surprised when they're in the 70s. So hopefully the more experience they get, and they get in those competitions, and the more competitions we can get into and get that pressure feeling, the better they're going to be. And you're right, we only lose a few to graduation, and we signed 4 women and 1 more guy. We're trying to get our roster to be 2 full teams, so when we go to our meets that we go to, we can take more than 1 team, and everybody will be able to get that competition feeling and let the cream rise to the top.
Sure, and touch on, if you will, a little bit those recruits that are coming in, especially on the women's side. I know recently you've had 1 sign, and you've had quality girls join the program.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good lineup coming in. Locally, the Kittleson girl out of Kildare that was at BSC is transferring in. Girl out of Glendive, Riggins, she's won the Class A in Montana. She's going to be a force to reckon with. Jay Steyer right here in Dickinson. I don't know anybody that loves golf more than she does. She called me this winter. We played in a winter league, and she get me up there at 6 a.m. to hit in the simulator. So I know she and that's one. I think her scores you're going to see a big change in where she's scoring, because she likes to play a lot. So I think she'll be an impact down the road for us. And then a Hemlock girl out of Washington. She's going to be a dual sport. So signed one of our women's basketball players for Coach Graffu before he departed. But and I think she loves to play golf. She was in the 70s in high school, and so I think those 4 are going to be a real impact to our program. and just kind of raise everybody's boat. I think is when you have a lot of girls that are playing well, then it makes everybody else try to play well and puts that little bit of pressure on there. And then on the men's, Carter Klein out of Bismarck is come over, and he loves golf. We've been texting back and forth, so he's really following where we're at and what we're doing. So he's bought into what he wants to do here at Dickinson. So I think we'll have a good group. The vans will be a lot fuller. We might get to the buds, depending on where our budget cuts end up. But we definitely want to be able to float those two teams as much as we can.
And kind of finally looking at the holistic view of the program, you've got Parker taking on a challenge this summer where he's going to be with the Idaho Golf Association. You got Bo working at Bully Pulpit. Just kind of cool to see that your players are having different impacts in the game of golf. So is that a recruiting tool to kind of show that even if you don't make it on the tour, there's a way to keep golf in your life?
Yeah, I mean, like Jace is working out at Heart River here. I think it's a networking thing more than, and I think golf, and you talk to any of our business people in the business department, golf, they actually talk about, golf is something that you should learn, because if you're in the business world, a lot of deals are made there, a lot of connections are made there, and if you golf,
a certain president spends a good deal of time
and has courses there.
Yeah.
So I think that part of it, the networking, there's a lot of opportunity for, if you have that on your resume, it's not going to hurt you at all. I mean, it's only going to help you.
Alrighty, Coach. What score does Parker have to shoot to pick where you guys eat dinner on Monday night?
He breaks the 80 barrier in the competition.
There's the number. Check out how the DSU golf team does, as well as the track team, baseball team, softball team. Everything's up and going now that we're into the heart of spring. DSUBlueHawks.com is where you're going to stay up to date on all of that information. Check us out at DSUHeritageFoundation.org as well. We'll be back next week to talk a little bit about rodeo as that comes to town here the first week of May.